So good morning. My name is Farrokh Mistry, and it is my pleasure to welcome you on the 24th of October to a conversation with young Zoroastrian professionals on planning where to study. The panelists today are Ferzin Avari, Nazneen Mistry, and Hosherdar Polad, and the synthesizer is Karishma Koka. This conversation is put together on behalf of the World Zoroastrian Chamber of Commerce. And the mantra of the World Zoroastrian Chamber of Commerce is building the spirit of entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship is defined as the pursuit of opportunity beyond the resources controlled. We have about 13 or 14 webinars over the past year and a half, and you may visit them on this YouTube site. We have forthcoming conversations on November 28th on getting the most from the college experience, planning, networking, selling yourself. And the panelists are Ferzin Avari, Karishma Koka, Nazneen Mistry, and Hosherdar Polad. On December 19th, we have a very important webinar on scholarships and funding for higher education. And the panelists are Neville Shroff from Hong Kong, Ravi Shankar, Ryan Pereira from Mumbai, and Farrokh Mistry. Karishma Koka will be the synthesizer for this webinar. On January the 23rd, we have a webinar on creating economic, social, and intellectual value. The emphasis here is on making a distinction between Naukri and career, and how parents could learn how to mentor their children to pursue a career instead of a Naukri. The panelists are Idal Davar, Rohinton Mehta, and Noshir Contractor, and Karishma Koka again will be the synthesizer. On February the 27th, we have a webinar, a conversation on being happy as a Zoroastrian graduate student away from home. And the panelists are Ferzin Avari, Karishma Koka, Hosherdar Polad, and Nazneen Mistry will be the synthesizer. In these 4 webinars, what we expect to do is to help the Zoroastrian youth to identify what sort of career they wish to pursue, and also give tips to parents as to how to talk to their children to help them reach their full potential. The plan for the conversation today is that I will be introducing what the webinar is all about. Then each panelist will introduce himself or herself, and then they will also give a commentary for 6 minutes. After that, Karishma will come along and she will synthesize what you've heard from the 3 panelists and will invite you to ask questions for clarification from each of the 3 panelists. And then after that, we will have a dialogue, which is free form. You could ask anything, and we can have a question and answer session. Finally, there'll be some closing remarks, and our intent is to complete the whole thing in 60 minutes. So what are we about? The World Zoroastrian Chamber of Commerce, in partnership with Zoroastrian faculty and academia, envision empowering Zoroastrian students to learn how to create economic, cultural, and intellectual value. And the mission of the ZFM is to facilitate Zoroastrian youth through higher and specialized education. So we are not dealing with undergraduate education or secondary education. We are dealing with higher and specialized education to pursue careers in industry, government, and academia as business entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs, and knowledge entrepreneurs. And it is our hope that once they get their degrees, the next generation Zoroastrian entrepreneurs give back to the community. The ZFN webinars are in the form of a conversation. We will introduce the topic, and then we would like the participants to enter into a conversation so that we can help Zoroastrian youth with the support of their parents to attain higher and specialized education. This initiative is supported by the RD Setna Scholarship Funds and also the ZF, WZCC ZF Foundation. So with that, I invite Hosherdar Polad to take the mic and proceed.
Thank you very much, Farrokh, for the lovely introduction. And good day to everyone, and thank you for joining us for our presentation today. My name is Hosherdar Polad, and I'm originally from Mumbai, currently located in the Waterloo region in Canada. I have a bachelor's and master's from the University of Mumbai and a human resource management certification from Conestoga Business School out here in Kitchener, Canada. Currently, I work with Christian Horizons, an organization which helps people with developmental disabilities, and I handle the human resource information systems for the organization. My passion is investing in the community as much as I can, and that is my contact information. Please feel free to reach out to me via email or get linked over LinkedIn. I'll be very happy to take any questions even after the webinar. So moving on to my slide, which is titled Getting Out of Your Comfort Zone, which is really important. So starting with the first quadrant, my academic journey, I believe education is enjoying the journey. And I would say in the journey, the role of my parents was really important as they were my backbone and support. My career decision was human resources because I was quite passionate about growth development of myself as well as organizations and employees within them. People who have influenced me throughout my career and my journey are my parents, my professors in university and in school, industry leaders, and also most importantly, my classmates who are besides me, and we had a great conversation. So moving to conversation and quadrant 2, lessons from my academic journey. What did I learn which helped me in my academic journey and in life is to be a sponge. When I say that, I feel that you have to listen, reflect on what you've heard, and then act upon it, is what has helped me in my academic journey. So if you just listen and act without reflecting, it could be dangerous sometimes. The other point which I would like to make out here is understanding others' point of view is something that I have learned while I moved to Canada, because people come from various places, they think differently, and it is very important to understand where they are coming from. And that links to my other point is dialogue deepens understanding. So if you have an open mind and you're a sponge, and if you have an open dialogue, it will deepen the understanding you and the opposite person you're having a conversation with has. And lastly, the point in my second quadrant is upskilling and micro credentials. I feel being in human resources and looking at lot of resumes, upskilling and keeping yourself updated with the latest knowledge, information, and technology is very important. And also backing them up with micro credentials, which are small units of knowledge. Moving to quadrant 3, on planning where to study, it is really important to do your research and what you want to do after you have studied. I would say understanding the job and business market is really important, and focus on a career goal and not just a naukri or a job that we focus on all the time. Planning a career is really important. So I would say have a rough 5-year plan ahead of you, or not even 5, or say 1 to 2 years after graduation. What's your plan? What's your career goal? You're actually planning on studying, and then what after that is really important. I would say another essential and crucial thing while planning where to study is the cost of study, and in general finances. Cost of studying can be really different depending on the country you're going, the city you're going to live in. When it comes to finances, the finances apart from your studies, like your housing cost, your food, that is also very important when you plan on where to study. And my last point is food and climate is really important. So generally speaking, come from a very warm climate, adapting to the Canadian climate took some time for me, and acclimatizing to the food as well is very important. So that brings me back to my title, Get Out of Your Comfort Zone to Grow. Moving on to my last and final quadrant, issues for young Zarthoshtis. As I mentioned all throughout my slide, get out of your comfort zone to achieve your true potential is what I believe in. And how you would do that is to be creative and think differently. And with that said, take a risk, but I would mention take a calculated risk. And always welcome change is very important. And out here, I would say think independently of what you want as your career and not just a job. And my small little tip for parents out here is to let your children think independently and not be helicopter parents. So with that said, I would like to pass this presentation on to Nazneen Mistry. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Hosherdar. So my name is Nazneen Mistry, and I'm currently located in Houston, Texas, in the US. My background is that I've completed my Bachelor's of Commerce and Master's of Commerce from University of Mumbai, India. And then I pursued my Master's of Financial Analysis from Rutgers State University of New Jersey. I was born and brought up in India. Currently, I'm working as a financial analyst with a CPA firm named Karishma Koka PLC in Houston, Texas. And I'm here to assist the youth to achieve their goals ahead. Below are my contact details if you want to reach out to us. Next slide, please. Okay, so I'm going to talk about how you can prepare yourself for your future endeavors. As you know, Hosherdar mentioned that you need to have a rough 5-year plan. Maybe you might be able to get some tips out of my presentation out here for it. In my academic journey, I would say that I belong to a family where education and career holds high values. And my parents have always been my pillar to my success. I always had a passion for finance since the time I was in my undergrad. I even did an internship in it, so I really liked it. I liked the field, and I always wanted to pursue my higher education in it. My motivation to do my graduate degree was to build a good career base as well, and then excel in it ahead. My influences have always been my parents, my professors, and my peers. In lessons from academic journey, I would suggest that students should look in for a program which has a lot of scope for them so that they can go ahead and have more opportunities in their field. It's not a wrong thing to go into a lucrative kind of a program that you want to, if you're particular about what you want to do ahead. But I would recommend to have more scope. So then, for example, if you really start liking something else later on, you can go ahead and change your fields as well. I would like to say the pandemic affected my job search after graduation. It was really tough to get a job with the pandemic situation in the US last year, but now things are improving. Things have started opening up over here. And I think by the time students would apply and come here, things will be back to normal. I would tell students to have scope for internships in their programs. And I would also recommend them to go in for 2-year programs than a 1-year program, because then they have an opportunity to do an internship. Because as per the law, you can only work after a year of your education. So you need to be particular about that if you really want to get into an internship so that you can convert it to a full-time job later on. I would also like to say that the study patterns in India are different than what's in the US, as per my knowledge. Because when I did my education in India, for example, we study first in class and then go home and study again and understand the subject. But here it's the opposite. First, you need to understand it by yourself and then go and understand it again in class and solve all your doubts with the professors. So you have to be careful that the study patterns are going to change once you think of coming to the US for education. On planning where to study, I would say go ahead and do some good amount of online research of the programs available abroad, and even check for the entrance requirements. because every field has a different requirement. Every college has a different kind of a program in it. Everything is not the same as how it was back at home. Like every college would have a same degree. That's different over here. Every college has its own different courses. So you have to look into what you like and then go ahead and pursue education in that. And I would say that admissions were as per my choice, because the same thing, I looked out for a program which was lucrative in my field, which was not available in many universities. Only top 10 universities over here had these courses over here. So you have to be very particular when you're doing your research about what is available and where it's available. I would say that timely application of scholarships is also important. I was quite late in my admissions, so that affected my scholarship applications as well. But I would recommend you all to be well prepared in advance so that you can apply for more scholarships and be able to make use of the scholarships ahead. In issues for young Zoroastrians, I would mention that as per the law, I would recommend students to go in for STEM programs, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. If your courses are related to that, and if you have a subject which is related to it, you get 2 years of additional work visa out here. Like not just work visa, it's called OPT, which is optional practical training for the first year, which most of the students get in their master's program. But for you to get an additional 2 years, it's called a STEM OPT. So I would recommend students to go in for STEM programs so that they have a longer period of time to work over here. And also look at the return on investments that they have from the programs, because of course you're investing so much into your education. You would always look into how much you're going to get back as well. And adaptation to climatic conditions is also important. Even as Hosherdar mentioned that when he went to Canada, it was difficult. I was in Jersey and it's quite a cold weather out there. And it took time to adjust, but slowly and steadily you would get used to it. So, and now I would like to pass on the presentation to Ferzin.
Thank you, Nazneen. I am Ferzin Avari. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I earned my bachelor's in psychology from the University of Georgia and my master's of arts in teaching science education from Kennesaw State University. Currently, I'm working as a virtual science teacher and beta club sponsor at Georgia Connections Academy. My passion is to help people learn, grow, and thrive. And here are my contact info in case you want to get in touch with me later. Okay, so with my academic journey, as most of you, starts at home. My parents were always really focused on education, and they were always supportive of my desire to study further, even if we didn't agree on what subject to study. For me, education came with a circular path. I started my undergraduate career as a chemistry major, and then slowly I realized I didn't enjoy the lab setting as much, but I enjoyed chemistry, and so I decided to become a chemistry teacher. My motivation for getting a graduate degree is that learning is the only constant. I feel like I need to learn more in order to become a better teacher. And my dream is to one day help facilitate teachers and begin helping them on their journey as they continue to learn. So my lessons from my academic journey, things that went well for me, I was able to get a lot of experience studying. I reached out to different professors with different labs and was able to get a variety of different experiences. I shadowed elementary school students for a while and observed how they learned in an elementary school setting. I was able to tutor at a middle school and a high school. And so those experiences really shaped the way I teach today. Something that maybe didn't go as well, when I was studying, I didn't take a linear path. And at that time, it was pretty stressful, but looking back on it now, it's okay not to have a linear path. I think each one of those experiences taught me something and really helped shape the teacher I am today. On planning where to study, I would suggest creating a list of universities and adding them to an Excel sheet. Look at all the admissions requirements, look at things like housing costs and location, put everything into an Excel sheet, even if it seems trivial. And then once you have all of that data collected, take the time to consider which university is the best for you. What I was able to do at the schools I attended was I was able to find a good support system with the Career Center, with different programs on campus, and to build lifelong partnerships with these departments. And so I still reach out to the Career Center and ask for advice when I need it, and they're really helpful. Things that I wish I had done a little bit better was look at financing a little bit, because the cost of undergraduate education is a little pricey. And my advice for young Zartustis is take some time and really ask the questions that are important to you. And find your tribe, find the people in your life who support you. For me, that's my mother. I run a lot of ideas past her. It's also my close group of friends. Anytime I need help, I reach out to them, talk through things with them. And if I need help professionally, I have friends at their career centers at my universities where I graduated. I have other people that I can reach out to. I also have a network of Zartustis around the world who are able to help support me when I need help or need advice. And so for me, I think you really need to create your own support system in order for you to create this environment to help support yourself. So it's really important for you to do your own homework, for you to dig in and research first, and then go out and ask for advice. And a lot of people will be there to help support you in that. Next, I will pass it on to Karishma to synthesize.
Thank you very much indeed, all three of our speakers. I live in London, but I've studied in India and in the United Kingdom. I was at the University of Cambridge, where I did a PhD in neuroscience, and then worked in London at the Medical Research Council. My position then moved on to setting up with my mother the Learning and Development Academy, where we focus on bringing students together in teams with their parents and then later on with the people they work with, so that they bring the best out of each other. So it's really empowerment by continued education. In this area. The focus is on bringing together people for the greater good. So as we move on to the dialogue section in a little while, please start putting your questions into the chat box for specific clarifications to the panelists, and then Farrokh will open up the session for Zoom. In the next slide, we'll take a look at what our speakers have told us today. The guiding principle for moving on from just the seeds being sown to facilitating a dialogue is to think about the learning, the education that goes on to bring us ushta and happiness through applying what we learn. So Hosherdar pointed this out so beautifully. He said, it's all about listening, reflecting, deciding, and then taking action. This is Yasnaha 30.2 in the Gathas. So while the Zoroastrian Faculty Network looks at empowering students for economic development, social development, and intellectual development, together bringing about a stronger, progressive, and sustainable world, Hosherdar focused our thoughts to how dialogue deepens understanding and how we must prepare for a career, not just a job. And for this, we need to not just plan and take a 5-year plan, but learn how to take calculated risks. Nazneen talked about how we can build a good career and focus on excelling So while we may do many things to prepare ourselves for the future, we work on being excellent at what we do. And then our thoughts go to selecting a program that is based on not just what we like doing, but the scope of what it will be for us in the future. And then continuing the learning process. Ferzin completed this to give us a more holistic picture. She said, finding our tribe is important, and it's fine not to take a linear path, but to pivot when necessary and be adaptable. But for this, it is important to do our homework with the intent of fostering questions we interact with people, not just to take, and then we build that further. If we look at what our speakers have talked about today in order to build up this holistic picture that helps us through our life and sustains our continued growth, it seems to boil down to how we can apply the mind to processing knowledge in the light of truth and righteousness, so that we build wisdom. It gives us a desirable power so that we are stronger, with which we can work with others with benevolence, as Ferzin does, with devotion to teaching as she does, but in whatever field we want to. So that, as Nazneen said, we can work to excel, to achieve perfection that keeps progressing, no doubt. And then this can sustain us and help us sustain other people for progressive empowerment that starts with education, works through our career, and works and filters through society, so that we end up as stronger team players with everybody else. With that, if I could pass back to Farrokh, so that we can think about the emergent properties of what we've just learned and how they apply to how we can contribute further.
Thank you all. And now we are open for questions for clarification. So there are two ways of doing it. One is to put something in the chat box. The other is to unmute yourself and talk. And the third is to put your hand up and I will call you. So please help us seed the conversation, start the conversation. All right, so perhaps Idil, Beram, you have some comments, questions?
We have a couple of new people who joined in, Farrokh, Rashida and Prathamesh.
Yeah. So Rashida, welcome. Prathamesh, welcome. Comments, questions, introduce yourself, turn on your camera, say hi to people. Right. Vispi, since you have been through this process and you're now a graduate student at Northwestern, perhaps you'd like to share some of your wisdom in terms of your journey and what was involved in getting you to Northwestern.
Oh, sure. Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to comment for the excellent presentation that we had today. Along with that, I would like to share my experience. So admission process, so right now I'm in Northwestern United States. So for admission process, you need to plan early. Like I started planning 1 year back. And because of this planning, I came to know that what all new stuff I can find out. Like I can directly go for a PhD program, which is fully funded. And I had planned how to get admission into these colleges by publishing papers and all. So I would like to recommend people that you should know what you want to do. And along with that, start planning early and make strategies because admissions over here are not based on just one score. It's an holistic the admission process is based on your holistic performance. So yes, this is my advice to everyone.
Great. So who else would like to say something? Rashida, Mahavish, Beram?
I'm having some technical issues. I cannot listen and hear clearly. So maybe somebody else can speak.
Zain, how is your preparation coming along?
Okay, so as we speak correctly mentioned, like start early. That is one of the best advices when it comes to education in life overall. That whatever we are going to do, we have to start early for it. We have to start preparing early. Secondly, the one thing which was pointed was really correct, that take calculated risk and always upskill yourself. So that's that's my takeaway. And it was a really nice webinar. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Karen, how is your preparation coming along?
Yes, so my preparation is coming along well. Like I started searching for different programs, different countries, and what are the possible career paths. Like right from my third year of my undergraduation. So because of that, I have gained a lot of clarity as well. So that's how I can say that you should learn to do your own homework, learn to match your skills and country, and like our speakers mentioned that we should also look at the ROI involved for each course.
Great. Farrokh Mistry, how about you saying something about your experience as being a father of Nazneen and how you mentored her so that she was able to succeed and follow her dreams?
Hello, I'm Shahrukh here. It was very nice to go through this webinar that you were taken through. Unfortunately, Nazneen was not having the opportunity to go through such webinars, but she had guidance through her mentors and other friends and colleagues which were there. The earlier you start is better, I would suggest. As Karen mentioned about the ROI, don't worry about it, dear. Within a year or two, you'll be able to make up everything, whatever you put into for your education. So please think about it. And also I would suggest that parents should also come up on this particular webinar and understand what exactly it goes through and how a student can take through for their particular education. Thank you, sir.
Great. Adil, are you ready to comment?
Yeah, may I? Thank you very much. It's a question for these three young Zoroastrians who have started their career and they've completed some course in Canada, US, etc., etc. What do you all think of future? Basically, I know Hosherdar is going to do his PhD from Harvard, and I mean, he is going to do what he has to do. So what about the other people? What are your future plans? Because study is always, it's a process. It's not, I mean, even when I'm 90 years old, I'll still be studying. There's always something new to study. So what are your plans for the future?
Hosherdar?
Yes, thank you very much. Just Adil Irani is my father. Thank you for the question. Yes, and thank you for coming for the webinar. Yes. So I would say definitely, as I mentioned in my first quadrant, education is a journey. And I feel upskilling and micro credentials, and I feel you can learn from anything and everything every day. So that is what I believe in. And when it comes to education and formal education, definitely after you get your master's, the next level, if you're truly passionate, is to do your PhD. And I feel even after getting that, you can learn from everything, even your students. And when I mentioned I was inspired by my classmates, so anyone can inspire you, anyone can teach you. So I would say, as Ferzin mentioned, it's a journey and you learn every day. So that would be my takeaway.
Nazneen, what's your dream in life? What's your next step? Like
Okay.
Hosherdar is going to get a PhD from Harvard, according to his father, which I think is fantastic. So let me give him a clap for that. We've talked about it. Hosherdar has reached out to me and we've talked about his getting a PhD. So Nazneen, what's your thinking?
So as I've recently graduated in 2020, I'm yet going to be planning ahead for sure. There are a lot of certification courses in my field that I can go ahead and pursue. So maybe I'll go ahead and do those first.
And Ferzin?
I would like to teach educators. So I am also looking at a PhD in science education. I would like to be a college professor because I feel like I can affect more change as I educate educators and send them out. So I think that would be my next step.
And Wispy, what is your dream?
Right now, currently my dream is to do good research and in long run, open my own research company or lab, something like that. So research is my passion and that drives me.
Right. Karen, your future, your dream?
Yes, so my dream is to further upskill in and work on some interdisciplinary projects, use my tech knowledge, use my knowledge of some business, and use my artistic abilities.
Great. Zain?
So my immediate plans are to complete undergraduation and get into a PhD program in the US and do excellent research. And yes, I guess that's my goal for now.
Great. Mavish? Mavish, what would you like to do? All right.
Nothing,
So,
no plans for me. Just enjoying all the Zoroastrian programs on the net. Thank you so much. Thank you, Karishma. You're really very good.
all right. So now we're open for the conversation. Adil has started the conversation by posing very generic questions. So we are now open for the conversation and the chit chat.
May I?
Yes, yes, of course.
I mean, I don't know if I'm the right sort of forum, but I would like, Karishma, who's more into sort of religious education or whatever, maybe I would like to put it like Hosherdar has been attending this. There has been every Monday, there was a prayer meeting at the Banaji Artist Biram, every Monday. So he must have attended that prayer meeting for the past 9 years whenever he was in Bombay, basically. So why can't you all have an international sort of prayer meeting where the community can pray together, and the timing should be such that it is good for the East as well as for the West. Maybe today, say 7 o'clock, I think that would be the right time. It's just a thought. I mean, Karishma, you can give that thought. I mean, let's not discuss this over here. You all can discuss this amongst yourself. And I think Hosherdar would definitely like to be part of the prayer group also and spread religious knowledge. And of course, Mr. Mistry, you have Hosherdar Mistry also, a brother, who is again a religious scholar. So maybe he can also participate in that.
We have a very talented person by the name of Beram Pastakia who knows about all the webinars and everything that's going around around the world. So Beram, maybe you'd like to say a few words. Beram? All right. Karishma, you know a lot of what's going on around the world as well.
Thank you very much, Mr. Irani, for your suggestion, which we will take. And coming back to what you said, it is very true that the Zoroastrian Dhyana is focused on knowledge, building wisdom, and creating knowledge, as the Zoroastrian Faculty Network focuses on so strongly. So the concept of creating knowledge through higher education is so entrenched in the minds of all of us. We will do our very best to further it, so that, like Hosherdar said, we can all learn more, learn to take calculated risks, and then build a better world, because today it's all about adaptability, which again Asho Zarathustra is guided. So we can learn to build things together. And as Nazneen says, we can be more perfect in what we do so that it sustains us and we can sustain others. So you brought us to a very, very holistic point. Thank you.
So Idil, would you like to say something about ZF, about the WZCC and the nexus of what you see?
Yeah.
I'd hear you.
Yeah, definitely. Firstly, I'd really appreciate the point of continuous learning. As Mahatma Gandhi said, learn as if you're going to live forever and act as if you're going to die tomorrow. So it's very, very important that you make decisions and take action. Also, a little bit about all-round education is very important. It's not only classroom studies, so also focus on extracurricular activities and other items. And in this regard, perhaps I'd like Zian to say a little bit. He entered a competition where he got a first prize. He developed an app, and I'm sure that's going to help him in his future studies. So I'd like to also turn the floor over to Zian for a little while, and then maybe I'll come back and talk a little bit about WZCC. Zian?
Yes. Thank you so much for your wishes. I'm audible? I hope I'm audible.
Go ahead.
Yes. Okay. So again, once again, thank you. About Hack, yeah. So I once Hack Harvard 2021, and we made a web app which detects tuberculosis. For those who do not know, I made a web app which detects tuberculosis from lung scans, and yeah. So we are thinking on improving on.
Okay, I think it looks like he's got an internet issue.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll quickly tell the audience what has happened.
Yeah,
Zian Pithabala has imbibed things in such a way that when he applied to Harvard University for what's called a hackathon, he not only was selected, but he then worked together with the team to create a code that's a learning paradigm, which means it can constantly update information. And it's on something that we really need today and which can change and be adapted to other processes in the future. So it's based on tuberculosis, which we know we've worked on for several decades, and it's still a current issue. Then Adel put him in touch with the head of the sanatorium. Father, Adel will tell us the name.
Father Tommy from Bel Air Sanatorium in Panchkani.
Father Tommy from Bel Air Sanatorium. And then Zian is able now to connect through the Zoroastrian faculty network and mentored by our seniors to build together with his team something that will be applied now, take in further information, both from the genetics and the clinical side, work with artificial intelligence and programming to create a code that will then learn as things change. And as we know, genetics is constantly changing. It is an evolving system, as is bacteria, and now we know viruses as well. So this nexus between science, technology, social endeavors, intellectual development of the person and the society, working with an organization and then being mentored by a person like Adel, who's an entrepreneur, gives Zian the scope to become an entrepreneur who builds in science and technology for social change. And this is the beauty of the Zoroastrian faculty network, mentored by people who've had experience and who are still willing to give their time to the youth.
Yeah.
So
Well
thank
said,
you, Adel.
Yeah.
So thank you for continuing on my behalf. This is the second time I lost the connection in this meeting itself. So I'm sorry for my weak internet.
Yeah, okay. So a little bit, as you know, World Zoroastrian Chamber of Commerce is involved in creating economic, social, and intellectual value. ZFN is helping students to get into higher education. We've also recently formed ZF, which is a Zoroastrian Entrepreneurship Development Foundation, where we actually providing funds for students who can get into university to do a master's program specializing in entrepreneurship. So this is a good development, and it's already been announced, and we'll be accepting applications through March 15th for the 2022 calendar year, which starts in September. And lastly, it's just been decided that the annual global AGM will take place in Pune on January 7th to 9th, and it'll be an in-person AGM. So we want people to, from India who are there to attend, and of course, encourage as many people from abroad as possible to attend also. But we've had 2 years where we've done it virtually, and it's time to get back to an in-person. So unless things go haywire, it'll be a live session in January.
Thank you. Prathamesh, it would be lovely for you to introduce yourself and comment on what you've heard today. Prathamesh got his undergraduate degree at the College of Engineering in Pune, and he is keen to pursue graduate school in the automotive engineering domain in the United States. Go ahead, Prathamesh.
Hello everyone, my name is Prathamesh Koka. I'm recently graduated from Vishwakarma Institute of Technology, Pune, from 2021 batch. Right now, I'm preparing for admissions, PhD admissions in USA. So today I heard 4 people's lecture on different topics, what they're pursuing, what they're trying to achieve, and what is their information, or what is they want to tell to Zoroastrian society, or basically on that. And after that, you discuss about different topics, what you are right now in with Dhyan and with Karishma ma'am, Dhyan working with some kind of projects in the Panchgani and all things that I heard right now. In between 5 minutes, my meeting was almost lost, and my internet connection is not there, so I couldn't hear in between parts of almost 10 minutes. So this was all of it.
So thank you, Prathamesh, for joining us. And so now we come to the end of today's webinar. And I would like Ferzin to make her closing statements.
We're all here to help support you in case you need help with your education. So please reach out to us, and we're more than willing to help.
Nazneen?
As Ferzin mentioned that we are for your help. I just hope that y'all go through our other sessions as well, which are posted on YouTube, as well as on the GFN website, which could give you the link to go there. Have a look at the other sessions that are there with more information in it. We'll be coming up with other sessions also ahead. Do attend, or even if you cannot, go through the links and at least view the videos so that it would be of help to you all when you're applying for higher education. Thank you so much.
Hosherdar?
Yes, thank you very much for everyone who came out, and echoing both Ferzin and Nazneen's points. We're always here to help. And if you all know anybody who's coming to Canada in this region, I will be very happy to help them out, settle them down, and so please let anybody know from the colony, from the bags, get them out of the comfort zone, and get them going. So thank you very much, guys.
Idil, would you like to speak on behalf of Yasti today?
Well, basically, Yazdi's got a lot of these items are recorded and posted, and the Zoroastrian Faculty Network is do visit that. That has a lot of information on it. We have the ZFN website, which posts all the events, so please visit that frequently. Anything else, Karishma or Farrokh, you want to add? But I think that'll basic.
One thing that we could do is ask you all for further suggestions of what you would like to hear. So in the chat box, you could leave us with some of your ideas and suggestions, and also email us. Thank you, Idil.
So this brings us to the end of the third webinar for this year. And I thank you all for joining us. please, we have a webinar every month, and do invite your friends, let them know as to what we offer and how we can proceed. And preparing for further studies or higher education takes time. It is not something that you do in your last year. So like Zain, he's still an undergraduate. He's finished his first year and he's thinking about graduate school. Karen started thinking about graduate school when she was in her third year. And so it takes time to get yourself organized. So being part of this community is helpful. Bisby spent a year and a half or almost 2 years preparing for his journey to Northwestern. So with that, thank you all very much. I will stop the recording. And for those of you who'd like to continue talking, we will stick around. And it's lovely to see you. So have a nice week. Much happiness to you. All the best.